Welcome to this edition of Inkboard Today. My name is Mike Moran, and I'm pleased to be your host for this edition. In this series, we look at the programs and the services that are offered to people who reside in southern Kane County. And so, as always, we highlight agencies. On today's show, we're going to highlight the services of Family Counseling Services of Aurora. And so at this point, I'll turn to our guest and give him the chance to introduce himself to ourselves. So tell us who you are.
Thanks, Mike. My name is Chris Beamsley. I serve as a therapist at Family Counseling Service, and also going to be a manager for another site that we're coming up with soon. Despite the gray and the beard, I'm relatively new to this. Went back to school back in 2014 to get a master's degree to do counseling. Psychology was kind of my first love. But after I finished up my undergrad at Augustana College, ended up in seminary. Went to seminary for 4 years and been a pastor for 20-some years. And one of the things I realized, in my time serving as a pastor, the need for services. And there are many times working with families or children or couples where trying to find resources for them. For counseling, and they were hard to come by. And so decided to go back to school and see if I could help out as a counselor and serve in that way. So just as my daughter is about halfway through her doing college work, I went back to school. So we were both at school at the same time. Finished up the same week my youngest daughter graduated from high school.
Okay.
We got our diplomas, and I was really thinking about doing private practice. I thought that would be the way I could make a difference. I found I wanted to be part of something bigger. Okay. And came across Family Counseling Service, and I knew right away that was the kind of place, this is the kind of place that I wanted to be a therapist at.
And we'll explore that. That's good, because it sounds like it's really a good fit for you. And also that while you've always worked with people, this is sort of a newer role to you in that. And back in 2014, you went back to school. And how long have you been with Family Counseling Services?
Just over a year now. I got my degree in 2016. And after about a year or so, found myself at Family Counseling Services and knew it was a great match. Values aligned. What I love about Family Counseling Services is, we're really here for anybody and here for everybody.
And people may or may not know what Family Counseling Services of Aurora does. So we'll explore all the other things in a minute, but tell us a little bit more. What does Family Counseling Services of Aurora do?
Sure. Actually, for almost 100 years, we've been the place for people to find the help that they need. So of course we offer individual counseling and therapy on couples and families, but our services go way beyond that. We also offer psych services, so we don't have to refer them out to get medications and monitoring medications they may need. Also psych testing we've just started doing to figure out exactly what the needs of the people are. A lot of work with children and adolescents and youth, which is fantastic because the need is really there, especially in today's world, for those young people.
And so it sounds like the agency serves the whole spectrum from infants on up through older adults and those sorts of things.
I would say from 3 to 103.
And where are they located at?
We're located at 70 South River Street, downtown Aurora. We will be opening another site just across the river over in Oswego. Coming up later this spring.
Yeah, so expansion will be a good thing. That's exciting.
Oh, very much so. The need is there.
So one of the services that I think you guys offer is around substance use disorder treatment services. So I know there's a variety of sets, but can you tell us more about the substance use disorder services first?
Yeah, we offer level 1 for adults to give them the education and the skills and everything to be able to get off of that addiction and to live a life fully without that dependency. Then also with our youth, where we offer level 1.5, which means that we also do preventative work. So those kids and youth that may be at risk, we're able to work with them to give them the education they need, the tools that they need, so that they don't fall into that dependency and that addiction.
Okay. And so when you talk about level 1, so that's outpatient. So typically, are people coming in once or twice a week? Tell us a little bit more about how they receive services for those.
With substance abuse, so we do have usually that's in a group setting, and so people, we can learn a lot from each other and get that inspiration that we need from each other, and providing that in a group experience is proven to be really helpful for the individuals needing services. Okay. So usually they come in and it's as part of group.
And then for adolescents, so it sounds like it's a different level of care, it's 0.5. So how does that differ? What do you do for youth that differs from adults?
Well, we offer services not only for youth who are experiencing substance use disorder, but also those who potentially may. So it's kind of expanding and offering some preventative services to young people before they reach that critical point. Okay. So they may be at risk for one reason or another, and we're able to assess that risk and say, hey, let's give you the education you need, the tools you need, so that this doesn't happen down the road for you.
Okay, so typically 0.5 is for somebody who's not yet needing treatment services per se. If they do need treatment, then they're going to get into level 1 or some other level of care and those sorts of things. And then do you guys also provide any kind of DUI services? A lot of people get in trouble because of driving under the influence offenses. So is that a service also offered?
Sure, we're there. Many clients are mandated by the court to receive services, and that's part of what we do for those folks who are trying to change that behavior, or been told they need to do some things to be safe, not only for themselves but others, and we're there. Okay. It's a place where they can go.
Okay. Are there other, in terms of dealing with drug and alcohol problems or issues, any other services that are important for our viewers to understand about what's available through FCS?
Oh, sure. As we've found the relationship between mental illness and substance abuse, there's a comorbidity there is what we call it. So you have both of those kind of going on at the same time. So many times you need to treat and address both. And we're able to do that, through individual therapy. Them working with a therapist one-on-one to kind of work with those symptoms they're experiencing in terms of the mental illness of the like. And then also include that group, education.
So some of the people who you guys are working with, they may have both a substance use disorder, but they may also have a mental illness. And so I know we haven't talked much about your behavioral health services at large yet, but so people can come to you and get really treatment at the same time for both sets of problems.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Okay. You can't really, for many people, you can't separate the two. They both need to be addressed. And what FCS is able to do is to address, that whole domain there in people's lives and work with them.
And you mentioned in your introduction, you talked a little bit about the ability to evaluate for medication, to do some psychological testing. Is medication common in terms of the people who have substance use disorders? Is medication going to be commonly used for those individuals?
It does help for some people. And what medication does, it's not really a crutch. But for me, I kind of see medication as it stabilizes the ground for people so that they can stand and do that hard work that they need to do. Okay. So it kind of brings down those symptoms they may be experiencing, whether it be anxiety or it kind of regulates that depression so that they can now work on that addiction or work on learning those coping skills that they need.
And we can pick up there when we get back. We're going to take a short break. We'll wrap up any discussion about the substance use disorder services, but we'll talk about the rest of your behavioral health services as well. So we'll be back shortly. Please come back and join us.
Recovery benefits everyone.
I started my own company.
I got my dad back.
My friends believe in me. Daddy's home.
Substance use and mental disorders can be treated. It all starts on day one. Join the Voices for Recovery.
We try to hide our truths about our mental and substance use disorders from the world, and sometimes from ourselves. Saying I'm fine is a facade. By facing our problems, recovery begins. And we are empowered to speak our truth. Join the Voices for Recovery. Speak up. Reach out.
So welcome back, and again, we're going to continue our conversation with Christopher Beamsley from Family Counseling Services of Aurora. So Christopher, before the break, we were talking a little bit about the substance use disorder treatment services. Is there anything else that you feel like you need to say that our viewers need to know? I do want to talk about your behavioral health services for adults and for children and adolescents, but before we do that, anything else about the substance use disorder services?
Just to clarify, the two levels of service, we offer the level 1 for adults, which is for those who currently do have that addiction or that substance use disorder, and then the 0.5 level, which is for at risk, especially with our youth and adolescents.
Okay. Okay. Good. Thanks. And now we have a whole set of services again, because I know as an organization you do a lot of good work with adults, with children, with adolescents around mental health, behavioral health. So tell us about those services. Maybe start with adults, and then we'll come back to children and adolescents shortly.
Sure. Each year about 3,000 people come through our doors for services.
Wow.
Of all ages, and we're able to offer these services all under one roof. For so many people, they go maybe to therapy, but they need to go somewhere else to see if they need medication, somewhere else for testing, and that's hard, especially if you don't have those resources and that money. So we do it all under one roof. The adult program, encompasses all those services that we offer. So adults will come in, we'll do an assessment with them to figure out exactly what their needs are, and then work with the client in terms of, well, what does their treatment plan need to look like? What does it need to include and involve? And that's something we do with the client.
Okay.
Once we kind of help them know, here's what we see with the assessment, here are the things we offer, what might work best,
So if I were to come to you, you would start by getting to know me better. So that's what your assessment is who am I and what do I need? And then based upon that, you're going to start to say, okay, so Mike, it appears that this is what you're going to be, this is going to be helpful to you. So individual or group or family work, but then you develop a plan that's specific to my needs.
Absolutely.
And all comprehensive, so one setting, so I'm not going to be sent to multiple places.
Yeah, which is, that's a wonderful thing to be able to offer. I'm glad we're able to do that, because you don't find that very many places, and we're able to do that. And that also includes, as a practitioner, I really enjoy it because I'm able to work with those professionals who, do the psych services and who monitor the medication for our clients. Also, the person may be doing some psychological testing. I could collaborate and work with those people very easily because they're just right down the hallway.
Okay. Yeah. And in terms of, it's kind of, I don't know if there's such a thing, but what are the kinds of reasons that people come to get help for you? For an adult to come to Family Counseling Services, or what would prompt them to make that phone call and reach out to you?
One of the things I've learned through the years, there's a time pretty much in all of our lives where all of a sudden we find ourselves not able to function and be the person that we know that we are. And whether it be anxiety symptoms or anger issues, relationship problems, we're kind of stuck. And it's like, what can I do? Is there anything? Well, Family Counseling Service helps people know that there's hope. And hope can start there at Family Counseling Service. And so working with them, what might that look like? Do they need to come in with their spouse for maybe, couples therapy? Do they need that medication, perhaps, for that anxiety, just to get those symptoms down, so that they can, function and improve those areas of life that they know that they want to work on? So it's a pretty wonderful thing when you're able to offer that hope to people.
Yeah. And very comprehensive, which is exciting. Yeah. Let's talk though, children and adolescents. I know you also work with all ages, so let's talk about services for children and adolescents.
Yeah, one of the things that we most love about our children and adolescent services is our mentoring program. So of course, just as with adults, many of our kids work with a therapist, that one-on-one time. But then we also, are able to pair them up with a mentor. And it's just incredible to hear our young people talk about their mentor, the relationship that they formed with their mentor, and how they're working on those skills that we talk about in the therapy room, how they work with the mentor and, going out in the community, different settings, and actually practicing some of those skills, those coping mechanisms that we're working on in the therapy room.
So it really gives them a chance. It's not just the hour or 2 or 3 a week when they're in treatment therapy. It's when they go out into the community where they have the chance to practice and to learn and to come back and those sorts of things. So,
with someone besides their therapist. They have another person out there to have this relationship with. And to hear our young people talk about how they look up to that mentor and the example that mentor is. We also, one of the things I love, Monday nights, a lot of times I'll get dinner because I'll smell this wonderful food cooking, and downstairs we have a group for youth in learning how to make meals.
Okay. Sure.
One of the things that they need that skill in their daily life, so we have a group and they come together, they learn and make these dishes, and if I'm lucky I can go through there and maybe they offer me a little bit of it too, which is really kind of neat. Those groups of topic-based groups where now their youth are working with other youth as well.
And you talked, when we talked first about adult services, individual, group, family counseling, medication, evals, those services are all available for children and adolescents as well.
Yes, and then we can supplement it with the one-to-one mentoring and also with our topic-based groups for our young people.
And when you mention mentors, so are some of the people who are those volunteers? If people want to get involved with Family Counseling Services of Aurora in some capacity, obviously to be a clinician you have to be licensed and credentialed, but if I'm a community member and I want to know more about Family Counseling Services of Aurora, your address, your location, your phone number, or volunteer, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, there's a place for everybody, and everyone is needed has something to offer. You can learn about not only the services we offer, but ways that you can contribute to what we're doing at Family Counseling Service. Check out our website. That's aurorafcs.org. You can also give us a call, 630-844-2662. They can give a call. We also have a Facebook. Many people use Facebook. You can check that out. Also Instagram and social media like that.
And are there other opportunities for volunteers? So volunteer mentors are also volunteers. Are there other volunteer opportunities?
Let me clarify. The mentoring program actually is not a volunteer program.
Okay.
We want to make sure that the people that are working with the young people are equipped to do the work, that they're doing with them. So just as with any of our service providers, there's a training that comes with that, so that we all know, how to best do what needs to be done for our people.
Yeah. So an important clarification. I appreciate you getting in there. Are there opportunities for volunteers at FCS or not really?
In terms of special events that we have and lending that helping hand, there's room for people.
Okay.
And not just in making the donations monetary, which are always appreciated, but to lend that helping hand.
Okay. And then as we were talking, I may have cut you off, so Children and Adolescent Services, I know you have a mentoring program, perhaps it's with them, perhaps it's with adults. Are there any other specialty programs that are available at Family Counseling Services that people should be aware of?
Two that come to mind right away. First of all, our older adult services.
Okay.
And what's wonderful about our older adult services is that, we're able to, go to them.
Okay.
If that is needed, let's say they're not able to get around as much, we can actually go to them.
And so that's one population that we haven't talked about yet. We're actually at the time where I need to take another break. So when we get back, we're going to pick up the conversation about older adult services, a little bit more information about Family Counseling Services of Aurora. So join us again. We will be back shortly.
Recovery benefits everyone.
Started my own company.
I got my dad back.
My friends believe in me. Daddy's home.
Substance use and mental disorders can be treated. It all starts on day one. Join the Voices for Recovery.
Okay, well, welcome back to our third and final segment of today's show. Again, we've been talking with Christopher Beamsley from Family Counseling Services of Aurora and really learning a lot about the excellent programs and services that are available through them. And so right before the break, Christopher, we were talking about, you began to talk about older adult services and I cut you off, so I want to give you the chance to finish that conversation.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, the older adult services, it's so wonderful that I think that we're able to offer the services that actually be in people's homes if they need, especially for our seniors who may have transportation issues or just difficulty walking across the street. We could go to them if that helps them feel more comfortable. Another program that's kind of unique that I'm so glad that we offer is our MARS program. That's our men's anger recovery service. If men have been, domestic abuse or there's hope for them too. And they too, could be given the tools that they need to be the people that they want to be. And so the MARS program really works with this special population that, with services and that care and knowledge, they can make those changes that they need to make.
Okay, good. And as you talked about the older adult services, so really one of the benefits is you can get to them in their homes and things like that. Do they have similar mental health issues? Meaning, do many of the older adults you work with have the same kinds of things, depression and anxiety and those sorts of things?
Yeah, absolutely. There could be that, anxiety, that worry, or dreading what's going on with my family, or grief. A lot of grief work in terms of maybe have lost a spouse, or just grieving their own mobility, being able to get around and their own sense of self-agency. The older adults, experience the same things, that the rest of our population do, but different contexts.
Yeah, and a growing population, I mean, as we all know.
Absolutely.
And so the senior population is one that's going to be increasing in the near future. So really exciting that you guys can provide services and reach them where they're at. And then so the men anger recovery services, I'm getting the acronym correctly. So again, those are for individuals, they've experienced violence in relationships, but this is a chance for them to learn new ways about entering into relationships, having healthy relationships, everybody being safe, those sorts of things. So
It's a great thing to see, these men change throughout the program and what they become aware of and what they realize that they can do differently. It's neat to see.
Yeah, and obviously part of why Family Counseling Services is on the program today is that you're funded in part by the Inc. Board, but tell us a little bit about how Family Counseling Services is funded, and tell us a little bit about how do people pay for services or access services at the agency.
One of the things I think is kind of amazing about Family Counseling Services, being a non-for-profit organization, of course, is we don't rely on a lot of government grants to do what we need to do. We have 55 people on staff right now, 47 of which are service providers, therapists and the like. That includes all of our, folks, including managers like myself, our chief of operations, our director. We all see clients and provide services. So that's one way that we're able to be so viable. The other, we do work with Medicaid, and boy, that need is there, especially in the part of the county where we're, our service area, to be able to provide Medicaid services. There's stuff out there, but you gotta have that Cadillac insurance to get the help you need, but not everybody has that. And so we are able to work with Medicaid, and then through, grants, we're able to work with those people who don't have any of those resources.
So a lot of flexibility, and really, so it sounds like people, if they need services, they're not going to be denied services based upon an inability to pay. So you did mention insurance, and so I assume that some of your clients or some of your patients may have traditional insurance, you accept insurance, some may have the ability to pay for the services themselves, so any and all funding options are on the table.
Any and all, that's right. Like I said, we want to be here for anybody, here for everybody, and that regardless of their economic resources.
Okay. And I know as we've met with other agencies and other program folks, they've talked about some of the challenges here in Illinois in recent years with funding. I know you said that actually Family Counseling Services hasn't had to rely on a lot of, quote, government funding.
Yeah.
But if I don't have a magic wand, but if I did, if any kind of funding, if you guys could suddenly access any funding that you needed, are there any services that you envision you would want to offer that you can't offer today that funding would allow you to do?
You know, we're always wanting to add to our team of service providers, you know, therapists, psych services. There are people needing that help, and you know, with additional resources, we'd be able to offer, you know, serve more people, especially in the area of psych services. My goodness, you know, a lot of young people, a lot of adults, you know, need that medication to stabilize things for them, to help them be able to function on a daily basis. And man, sometimes you have to wait months to get in to see somebody. And in the meantime, you know, you're suffering.
Yeah.
You know, those symptoms can be really overwhelming. Yeah. So with additional funding, you know, that would be the area, you know, that we think the most need is in right now is the psych services, and being able to provide that even more.
And when we opened the show, one of the things that you shared is that, so right now the agency is in the process of opening up a second site.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about the new site that'll be opening up in Oswego? What will be available there?
Yeah, our second site in Oswego, just across the river. Great location, and the community there is really looking forward to our presence. We've been serving people over in that area in Kendall County, but to be home there with them will be wonderful. And they're not two different places. We are Family Counseling Service. And so we will continue to provide all these services. We'll be starting out, of course, with the therapy and the like over in Oswego, but once again, they can, you know, they're a client of Family Counseling Service.
Okay. So in general, once that site's operational, then people will be able to access the same services there that they can get in your original location in Aurora here.
Yeah.
Okay. And earlier you mentioned, again, you gave us the information on the website and things like that. But again, so people were interested in learning more about Family Counseling Services of Aurora, if they wanted to somehow get involved or find out about events that are coming up, how would they do that again?
Yeah, check out our website. You know, especially we do offer continuing ed events for people who are professionals. So, and all those events are listed on our website. That's aurorafcs.org. Give us a call, 630-844-2662. Check out our Facebook page, also Instagram. The information is out there, and please don't hesitate to contact us.
And I hadn't asked you this, and you just put up. So if people are looking, you mentioned continuing education, and so tell us a little bit about that, because some of our viewers may be looking for continuing education. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. You know, as professionals, it's lifetime learning. You know, we need to equip ourselves to be the best counselors and therapists that we can be. And so one of the neat things about Family Counseling Services is that we do have a fall series of events and a spring series of events, everything from working with trauma. I participated in one, you know, with how to work best with men in this you know, age of the superhero culture.
And that's all on the website?
Yeah, those events
great.
are all on the website too.
Well, we appreciate your time today. We are out of time, unfortunately. So again, please visit their website or give them a call. Thanks so much to our guest today, Christopher Beamsley from Family Counseling Service of Aurora. Thank you for tuning in. We will look forward to hearing from you again.